We're going to get to our legal guys in a moment, but first I want to remind you that we're awaiting details coming out of a Pentagon briefing taking place right now. Our Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr is there. We're hoping to hear more information about the kind of intelligence used in order to raid that compound of Osama bin Laden in Pakistan, which ultimately led to his death. Information that may even entail what they seized from that compound as well, including computers or any kind of video, etc. We'll bring that to you momentarily. Meantime, all right, other news. One of the court cases that we are following closely today, a high-profile jury selection happening somewhere in Florida. Why the mystery? Well, it's an important development in the Casey Anthony proceedings. Let's bring in our legal guys, Avery Friedman, a civil rights attorney and law professor in Cleveland, and Richard Herman, a New York criminal defense attorney and law professor, joining us from Las Vegas. All right, gentlemen, good to see both of you. So very interesting
see you too.
Twists and turns in this case. We're talking about 3 years now after the fact, the discovery of this little girl missing and then ultimately her death. And now we've got an appellate judge court that weighed in last night saying it's all right that it will be a secret location where this jury selection would be taking place. This seems highly unusual, Avery, or is it not?
Number one, it's highly unusual. Number two, perhaps somebody forgot about the First Amendment. The fact is that the media has already disclosed, in the worst kept secret in America, that the jury is being selected in Hillsborough County in Tampa. In fact, the funny thing is the chief judge in Tampa says if you want information, call the chief judge in Orlando where this case is going forward. So give some credit to Judge Belvin Perry. He's the presiding judge in the Casey Anthony case, Frederica. But the fact is nothing trumps the First Amendment. Understand prejudice to the defendant, but at the end of the day, First Amendment prevails in this case.
So, Richard, this is strange, is it not? I mean, it does appear as though this is something that happens on a fairly regular basis. There may be a change of venue, but that jury selection would take place in a secret location is highly unusual.
It's highly unusual, Fred. I've never seen or
so I wonder
heard
if it
about
could be
this ever
challenged
happening.
once again.
I don't think this is something. Look, there's going to be a lot of challenges on appeal for this case. This probably is not going to be one of them. There'll be more severe ones with the experts and the battle of the experts and what the judge allows in as admissible or not. But look, there are far more reaching and more devastating issues for this defense than whether or not the press know where this trial is going to be. This case is really setting up miles and miles against this defendant. And this is what happens, Fred, when an attorney lets his ego get involved and not his ability. This attorney Baez does not belong defending this woman here. He does not have the skills to do it. And she is going to get annihilated, Fred. It's going to be a flash verdict. She's going to get crushed in this case.
Wow. Okay, 3 years after the fact, it seems like this has been going on back and forth for a very long time.
Yeah, it really does.
It really is a painful case, too. Well, all right, let's talk about this very interesting case involving where the allegation is computer misuse. And so, Richard, who knew that, we know that spouses may share a computer, but apparently one snooping into the other's email may get you a charge imposed against you. This is the case taking place in Michigan.
Well, it gets a charge. It gets prison time. It gets a criminal record.
Sure.
And it's not a nice thing to have.
Up to 5 years in prison, right?
Go on? Yeah, up to 5 years. But who looks on their spouses or boyfriends or girlfriends' Blackberries or computers or emails? Who reads that stuff? Nobody's going to raise their hands, but you know who you are. Listen, this guy is facing very serious charges here.
Yeah.
His defense is it's a joint computer. We both use it. She gave me access to her account. She allowed me to look into her emails. That's his defense. Probably not going to fly here, but they're waiting. The legislature is going to rule on this. They're not going to hold it in domestic snooping issues. So he needs time. The defendant needs time.
So at the time, Avery, Leon and Clara Walker were married. Now they're Splitsville. But his contention was he had a little suspicion something was going on. Come to find out when he read into those emails.
Yeah.
He says she was having an affair, and that helped kind of cement the deal of their divorce. So I guess suspicion, and maybe, in a lot of courtrooms, people might be able to empathize with, you've got to act on that suspicion. Will that be his defense? Is that enough, Avery?
No. He hacked into the computer, at least according to the prosecution. I mean, hacked into it. It's not that
I had to try
consent. I mean, I knew you were going to do that. I knew it. But no. The fact is, look, husband and wives can have their joint accounts. That's fine, like a bank account or a computer account. This claim is that he hacked into the computer, and Richard's right. The legislature is going to try to change the law to exempt spouses from breaking into their spouse's computers, which I think is ridiculous. The bottom line is, yeah, it's a felony. It's the first of its kind, and this case is going to trial soon. We're going to see what happens. I think he's in big trouble.
Okay, also ridiculous, and I think everyone universally has to agree with this one. This next case involves the videotaping. That's not the ridiculous part. The videotaping of a fight between two teenage girls, and apparently a mother is charged with actually inciting this. So actually, I got to take a pause right there because, guys, we hear some information coming out of this Pentagon briefing that we've been talking about happening this hour. We've got our CNN producer, Charlie Kais, who's on the line with us right now. Charlie, what can you tell us about what was revealed during this briefing at the Pentagon?
Well, first of all, this briefing is still going on, Frederica. It's pretty remarkable. It's a senior intelligence official for the first time laying out some of the details of the information and the collection of items that was seized after the killing of Osama bin Laden less than a week ago.